Join me on your mat and at the wall for today's hip opening series. So for today's hip opening series at the wall, you're going to want to set up your mat so that it's perpendicular with the wall. And if you do have a couple of cushions or a block, you may want to go and grab them just to help you through today's practice, but definitely they're not necessary, just preferred. So for our first posture, we're going to move into Malasana against the wall. So I like to take my block, but this could be a cushion. You could definitely do it without. But the block can be a little bit helpful here just to make it more relaxing. So you're going to come near the wall and we're going to come down into a squat and just adjusting your block so that you can bring your back up against the wall. And remember, you can adjust your block higher or lower depending on which way you turn it. And then as you sit here, try to put a little bit of gentle pressure into your knees just to open up through the groins a little bit more. As we sit up nice and tall and straight, maybe closing your eyes here, or just letting your eyes look down towards your mat. And often when we think about good hip function, we sometimes forget about the groin area. But it can be really important because if you're trying to bend down low, do squats, makes your hips move in that kind of movement, but your groin is really tight, that might be the thing that is hindering your movement. And what's nice about doing this posture up against the wall is it does keep our spine nice and neutral and straight. For lots of people, sometimes we're more rounded forward, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it just helps to open up through the whole back, through the shoulders, as we come into this nice straight position. And as you sit here for a little bit longer, you might decide, hey, I can make my block a little bit shorter and still be finding that you're getting a good stretch without getting too much of a stretch. So feel free to adjust at any point. And this should be an amount of stretch that feels like about a 7 out of 10 for you. So not putting yourself into a place where you're overstretching or you're pushing your body too hard. Just a small amount of challenge is perfect. And as we take our last few breaths here, see if you can bring your hands to prayer and let your neck, your head come forward just a little bit. Releasing a little bit of tension that you might be hanging on to through the neck and shoulders. Perfect. From here, we're just going to come out of this posture, and if you want to come right up to standing, feel free to come right up to standing, or if you just want to come forward and come off your block. And then you can just keep your block close by if you need it for the next posture. So this next posture can be a little bit tricky to get into, and if you do have a bolster or a cushion, I definitely recommend it just to put a little bit of extra padding underneath your knee. Even if your knee generally feels pretty good to kneel, the position that we're putting it in can definitely sometimes be a little bit more challenging for the knee, and why not keep the knee nice and safe if we do have something soft that we can tuck under there. So you're gonna put your cushion near the wall. And then, like I said, it takes a little bit to get into this. So you're gonna start with your right knee on the cushion, and then you wanna slide your leg down the wall. Now, the closer your knee is to the wall, the more challenging this stretch is. The further your knee is from the wall, that'll make it a little bit easier. So this is gonna be really different for each person. So you find the right amount of stretch for you. You can use your block here just to help you find your balance a little bit. As you step your left leg forward. So we're starting in a lunge position here. So finding this place, take a moment to get there. And then we can use our block if we have one to rest one hand on. We can rest on our thigh. We could put both hands on our thigh, but just starting nice and gentle and easy here as we work into this one. There's going to be a few different modifications, adaptations as we progress through this posture or series of postures. So please feel free to stay right here. If this feels like it's enough for you and moving to the next level is going to put you into that place where it's too much, then stay right here as we start to open up the body. And if you notice that it starts to get to be a little bit too tight, slide the knee further away from the wall. That's going to ease the stretch a little bit. As we let the front of our hip drop and open and stretch here. Breathing nice and deep. And then from here, we're gonna start to come back a little further. So see if coming hands up onto your thigh is gonna work for you as you start to bring your body more straight up and down. Now, notice that as you come straighter up and down, this intensifies the stretch. So if this is too much, come back to this position. This is gonna be a little gentler, a little bit easier. So as we come straight, we're getting a tighter line of pull all the way from the knee up through the shoulder. And just hanging out here for a few breaths as you ease your body into this. Knowing that the closer your bum is to your heel, okay, and again, that depends how close your knee is to the wall, that intensifies the stretch as well. So you might be further away from the wall, and there might be more of a gap from where your heel is to where your bum is, and that's okay. Maybe going a little further from here, we look to lift our arms up, and then you can start to reach back for the wall behind you. So just finding a little tiny bit of a back bend here as that opens up through the front of the hip just a little further. But again, regress, come back to any level at any point here as we listen to our bodies. Let's take 3 more nice deep breaths. Good. And we're not coming away from this position, we're just adapting it. So we're not holding each level of the posture quite as long today because we're adding on. And this can be quite a demanding stretch. So depending on how sticky your sticky mat is, this next part can be a little bit more challenging, but we're gonna leave our right leg where it is. And then we're gonna kind of move into a pigeon stretch from here. So you just wanna let your front leg come down as the foot slants in towards the groin. We might slide our back leg even further back. You can stay at the top variation of pigeon here, or you can let yourself melt down to your mat as you start to sink your left bum cheek closer down towards the floor. Relaxing your head and neck. You could use a cushion or a bolster to rest your head on here, or stack your fists, or bring it all the way to the floor. You may also like to tuck your block underneath your bum cheek as a variation here, just to give you a little bit of support. So if this is feeling like it's a pretty big stretch for you, tuck the block there. That's gonna give you a little bit of cushion, a little bit of help. And remember, you can turn that on different levels depending on how much help you might find that you need today. Good, and we're just hanging out here for a few more breaths. I know we've been in this position or variation of this for a little bit of time now, but that's really helping to open up our hips. Good, and let's slowly come out of this position. Just take your time as you start to slide your knee forward. And then just let yourself come into resting child's pose for a couple of breaths here. Easing your body down to the mat. Perfect, and slowly coming back up. And now we're gonna get into that series on the opposite side. So again, getting our cushion set up so that it's fairly close to the wall. Move it a little farther forward if you know that your knee was coming more forward on the opposite side. And then you're gonna slide in here, bringing your left knee onto the cushion, and then bringing your right leg forward to come into that lunge position here. Looking for about a straight line from your knee to your ankle. As we just start nice and easy here, and even if you can come all the way up and go back to the wall, just let your hips ease into it. So start a little bit gentler, and then we can progress a little bit farther here, or harder, as we go on, as time goes on. Relax your neck. So deciding if you want to stay right here in this position, or if it might feel good for you to come up onto your thigh. And you can always just readjust your knee position a little bit here if you feel like you're a little bit too close, or if you feel like you're not quite close enough to the wall, just readjust. Remembering as we straighten up further, that brings the stretch a little bit deeper, a little bit stronger. Maybe lifting the arms up here and either staying right here or reaching back for the wall behind you. And we're just gonna hang out here for a couple of breaths. Maybe close your eyes. Let yourself settle in. Taking one last big deep breath here. And then we're going to come back forward as you start to make your way into that variation of pigeon. So bringing the front leg, bringing it down. And your back leg is really up in that really high variation of pigeon where you might be grabbing your foot. Choosing to stay at the top if this feels like it's the best place for you to stretch, if it feels the most comfortable, most productive, or let yourself come down to the bottom. Or maybe enjoying a little bit of both. Taking one more nice big deep breath here. And then on your exhale, start to exit the posture. And again, finding your way into resting child's pose. Wonderful. Coming back up. And now we're going to move to lying on your back. So you can just make sure your props are close by in case you might want to use something, but we won't need them for the first little bit. So one of the best ways to get nice and close to the wall is when you sit sideways, sit really tight to the wall, and then you can let your legs roll up to the top. So for the first position, you don't want to be right tight against the wall. So we can just ease back a little bit here. And then we're going to come into a figure 4 position. So crossing your right leg over your left. And then you're going to slide your foot down the wall to bring the stretch closer to your chest. So this is going to deepen the stretch. So if you feel that it's too tight here, then you want to back away from the wall a little bit more. If it feels like it's too easy, scoot your bum a little closer to the wall. And then from here, we can even press into the toes of the left leg, which will bring the right leg a little closer to your chest, deepening the stretch as well. So we've got some play here, finding the right angle that your leg is at the wall, whether you're pushing into your toes, whether you're not. And then we can also add a little bit of outward pressure on the right knee if you wish. And we're just going to hang out here for a couple of breaths. This can be a great variation to pigeon stretch if pigeon stretch or pigeon pose is difficult for you. Or if you're just looking for a place that you can stay and stretch your hips that's a little bit more relaxing. If some of the other postures are really intense for you, this might be a great place to spend a little bit more time, allowing your hips to gain some mobility. Perfect. We're going to switch sides here. So crossing your left leg over, sliding your right leg down the wall. Finding the perfect place. Good, and we're going to release from that stretch, bringing your legs back up the wall. And here you may want to sneak in so that your bum is right up against the wall. So just readjusting here. But if you know that you are a little bit tighter, starting with your bum a little further from the wall may be a better option for you. So here you're going to cross your right leg over your left, how we just were in figure 4, except you're going to leave your left leg straight up the wall. So in this position, we're going to move into fallen pigeon. So you're going to let yourself or your body start to slide to the left. So you're going to let your left foot slide all the way down the wall until it comes to the floor on the opposite side. You might like to tuck in your right foot a little bit further, so bring it a little closer to your groin. If it feels like it's too much of a stretch, you're going to slide the right leg out a little bit. Also bring your bum a little further from the wall. And then you can just draw the knee gently towards your chest. Staying right here if this is enough. Going a little deeper, adding a bit of a twist. Stretch your right arm out and look over to the right side. Making sure that both shoulder blades are staying on your mat. And if looking towards your hand feels like it's a little too much of a twist, you might look just to the ceiling or come on back and look towards your left side. Allowing your body to release for just a few more breaths here. If you felt like going a little bit deeper into the posture was something that's accessible to you, maybe heading there for the last couple of breaths, but not feeling pressured to go deeper. It's really about finding the right amount of stretch for your body. Good, and let's release from here, bringing your legs back up to the top of the wall. Just resting here for a couple of breaths. Good, and we're gonna move into that position on the opposite side now. So crossing your left leg over. And then when you're ready, let your legs and your body start to slide down to the right side. So your right foot's coming all the way down the wall till it reaches the floor. Maybe tucking in your left leg a little bit higher towards your groin. Draw your knee in and then decide if you're taking the twist or not. Breathing deeply. Taking our last few deep breaths here. And then let yourself come out of fallen pigeon as you bring yourself back up to the top of the wall. And we're gonna finish today's practice with legs up the wall. So this isn't really a hip opening position, but it definitely is a position that can help stretch and relax your hamstrings, release tension in your lower back, and that is all connected to having better hip movement. Plus, it's a great relaxing way to end your practice. Excellent if you get any swelling or tightness, tiredness in your feet or your legs. If you do a lot of athletics, this is great for recovery, and it's great for boosting your immune system. If you have a block or a cushion, you may want to pick up your hips and slide it underneath just to give you a little bit more of an inversion. And just letting yourself hang out here. Close your eyes. staying in legs up the wall as long as you like. Coming out whenever you're ready. Thank you so much for joining me for a At the Wall Yin Yoga hip opening series today. If you do like my videos and you like my channel, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications so you'll know every time that I'm posting a new video, and shoot me a comment. Let me know what you think. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Namaste.